This is Joanne Jenkins, CEO of AARP. The coronavirus continues to affect us all, and we are here actively supporting you and your community. Every day, we're providing trusted information from top health experts, sharing tools to help protect families from fraud, and creating resources to support family caregivers everywhere. As always, you can count on AARP to advocate for you and your family. Join us and stay connected at aarp.org/coronavirus.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Old Men Yell at Cloud. This is your host this week, Patrick. I'm so sorry. I am joined as always by our good pals, Jim Schultz and Christopher Brown.
What he said.
Yeah. Usually I see you guys the other way around, but this week I decided to change things up.
Yeah, you could see that Jim had no idea what was going on there, which is why he made that noise.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember those commercials before movies? I don't know if you ever saw them at
previews.
Showcase Cinema. No, at a Showcase Cinema, they used to have this thing. It was like a car dealership, and it showed a guy doing stand-up, and he like picks up a mic and he just says like, like that. And then the announcer says, clearly this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And then it just cuts into like a car dealership commercial.
Wow.
And then we are told by someone who knows what they're talking about the price of cars and how insane they are.
Is it
compared to other people's prices?
I just like the idea that they have this guy come out there and like act like he has like, something legitimately wrong, like he's not well, and then they make fun of him to sell cars.
Is it Ernie Bach Jr.?
It might have been.
Did they tell you to come on down?
No, I would have recognized if it was Ernie because that guy's a real piece of shit.
He sure is, yeah. And he's from my hometown, Norwood, Massachusetts. We got a lot of shit bags there, but yeah, he takes the cake for sure. And I'm from there, and I'm a total shit bag.
He won the sperm lottery. That's what we say, where I come from.
Wow. That was good.
That's an old Attleborian saying.
Oh, I'm going to introduce my guest now. It's my wife, Gina Monafo.
Hello.
Thanks for coming back.
Hey,
Hi, Gina.
Thanks for having me back. First
Yeah.
repeat guest.
Yeah,
that's true. Our first repeat guest since our inception in the year of our Lord 2017.
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years, right? In September?
Yeah, and that'll be pretty well timed to do a 2-year anniversary with a Tool album.
Actually, this
bullshit that they just announced.
Okay.
A new Tool album.
Yeah, what's it called? It's like
Fear Inoculum.
Inoculum.
Is that what does it sound
sounds like a bodily fluid is what it sounds like.
Yeah, you get a free copy if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, right?
Yes, of the fluid.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's Adam. No, not Adam Jones. Alex Jones, who has the Vitality jelly that you can order.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like a special jelly that you can get to like his conspiracy theory jelly. It makes him like more aware of things.
I don't like that it's a jelly. If it was a liquid, I would be cool with it. But if that it's a jelly,
no,
it's
Where do
viscous.
you put it?
All over.
All
It's like
over.
Vicks Vapor Rub, except it's like kind of sticky and things kind of just stick to it.
I'm imagining
Speaking
like
of,
the Vapor.
no, go ahead.
Thank you. I was just imagining like the Vapor Rub commercials where there's like a small sick child in bed and the mother rubs something on it. But instead of like the kid saying like, "Oh, I feel better, mom," or whatever, they just say like, "This smells like booze."
I was going to say, speaking of conspiracy theories, I came up with one today where I feel like the 9/11 was an inside job carried out by the Vatican to get people to go to church.
That's true.
Okay.
Because I feel like after 9/11 happened, a lot of people were like, oh shit, I need to find religion.
Now, is that the extent of your evidence for this theory?
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, that's a lot more legit than a lot of the other 9/11.
Fair enough.
Actually, if you look really
so-
closely at Building 7 after it collapses, you can see the Pope Mobile driving away.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the Vatican were all behind those Florida plane schools, too.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell
Flight
you guys?
schools.
So you know those 9/11 was an inside job stickers that showed up around Boston all over the
Yep.
place?
Yeah.
There's one on my walk to work when I park on A Street.
Did I ever tell you guys that I knew the gentleman who was behind those?
Oh, did you? you?
Yes. So I used
Are you
to,
about to out him right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the guy's name, but I'm about to tell an embarrassing story about him.
Okay.
So he was. I used to work at the Apple Store on Boylston Street, like the big one in Boston.
Yep.
And he used to hang out on the top floor there all the time. And basically, management's policy was, as long as someone's not disturbing the other customers, no matter what they're doing, no matter how weird it is, as long as no one else is uncomfortable, just let them do it.
Right.
So this dude basically used the third floor of the Apple Store as his office to work on his 9/11 was an inside job website, and he had a bunch of weird materials with him. But again, everything seemed fine, so we were all friendly with him, and he seemed nice. Anyway, he was banned for life from the store after the third that they caught him looking at cartoon porn.
Oh, you told us about that.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got to go in and really clean up those hard drives.
Yeah. It's how to destabilize any sort of semblance of credibility you have. You could not find a better way.
Well,
to
who's
do it.
that guy who had the whole? Was it? Oh, what was his name? The dude who ended up. He was this activist for Africa, and then he ended up being this crazy guy who jerked off in the middle of the street. What was his name? Kona?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
John Sasser.
Oh, Jonathan Sasser. Former guest. Come back on sometime. Coney, yeah, that's what it was.
Because there was that
Coney
whole
2010.
social media movement, and then nothing actually happened.
Yeah, because
But
he turned
he
out to
did-
be a total wackadoo.
I mean,
Yeah.
he did much worse things than that, though.
Yeah, I think he ended up doing much worse things than that.
Child armies, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
that's a new hip thing I've heard. It's pretty terrible.
That's a
I mean, if I'm gonna have
depressingly-
children, I want them to form a little army. So,
to take you down. Why?
first me and
to
then the
topple
world.
you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the animal kingdom, some children eat their
Like
mothers.
toy
Yeah, yeah.
soldiers. Or small soldiers. Phil Hartman.
I saw that movie.
Yeah. One of the last movies he was in, I think.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Toy Soldiers.
I think that's what it's
Or
called.
maybe toy soldiers
Toy
or
no,
Soldiers.
it's
small,
small
soldiers.
soldiers. I think
Toy
it's small
Soldiers is the one with the kids at the private school that gets taken over by a militia.
Yeah.
No,
like
yeah, we're
terrorists or
thinking of a
something.
different one. We're thinking of the one where the toys come alive, right?
Yes. Yeah. This came out around 1996.
Toy Story .5.
Yeah, so not Toy Story basically.
Yeah, I mean it probably was to some extent. It was in that era. Let's talk about the album that we listened to tonight that you guys were so kind enough to come all the way out here to Ayer and listen to. We are doing Stone Temple Pilots' Tiny Music, songs from the Vatican Gift
Hey,
Shop.
look at that. It ties right back in.
Yeah, it was perfect. So Tiny Music is the third studio album by American rock band Stone Temple Pilots, released on March 26th, 1996 on Atlantic Records. After a brief hiatus in 1995, a year after the release of Purple, which was one of the first episodes that we
Was
did.
it?
There's a second.
Or the second one.
Yeah.
Second episode.
One of my first picks. So anyway, they got together in 95 to record Tiny Music, living and recording the album together in a mansion located in Santa Barbara, California. So Tiny Music saw the band moving away from the grunge sound present on their first two records and incorporating a wide variety of different influences. So in early 1995, shortly after the band was forced to scrap 2 weeks' worth of recorded material, lead singer Scott Weiland was arrested for heroin and cocaine possession and sentenced to 1 year's probation. In the months following the incident, Weiland formed his own side band, the Magnificent Bastards, and recorded a couple songs for Tank Girl. Anyone remember that movie?
I do, unfortunately.
That was it was Magnificent Bastards with Mockingbird Girl.
Yes, and so that movie featured Ice-T as a half kangaroo, half man hybrid.
And was it Laurie Petty was in the lead on that one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So during this time, the rest of the band decided to put together their own side project talk show, and that's all I will say about that. So anyway, Tiny Music displays a drastic change in the band's sound, featuring music strongly influenced by 60s rock and bands such as the Beatles. Our good pal Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic stated in his review of the band that Tiny Music illustrates that the band aren't content with resting on their laurels, and SDP have added a new array of sounds that lend depth to their immediately accessible hooks, naming shoegaze and jangle pop as two examples of genres explored on the album. Erlewine also wrote that the album, quote, showcases the band at their most tuneful and creative.
He actually said something nice.
He did, yeah. No, he writes good reviews sometimes. He's not like that grump Robert Christow. He hates everything.
Yeah, he's a real sack of shit.
When he writes a good review of an album, it's like, cool, yeah, that was pretty good, period. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. This was actually, I was commenting upstairs, this is actually one of the first cassettes that I ever owned, that I purchased for myself as like, I'm not just listening to what my brother and sister is listening to. This was like an independent musical purchase, because I think I had purchased Master of Puppets and Load by Metallica before that.
My first was Weird Al Yankovic Greatest Hits Volume 2.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah, and as I mentioned upstairs, that the listeners were not privy to, this is the first album that I got on release day.
Yeah, which would have been like March of 96.
March 26,
something.
1996.
Yeah.
I asked my mother a month beforehand to give me a ride that day to Newbury Comics, and to her credit, she did.
Good for you, Mom.
Yep. Thanks,
good on
Mom.
you. Supporting the kids in their interest in music. I likewise purchased it at a Strawberries, I think, at the mall. And I don't know why I picked it up. I think I had seen the video for Big Bang Baby a lot and Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart were being played a lot in like the first half of 96. And I don't know, it was a band that I just like kind of grown to really like, and they weren't someone that my siblings were listening to so much. So it was kind of like, oh, this is a band that Pat likes. This is mine. And like as a result, I fucking love this album to this day. It's still one of my like dearest albums. And yeah, I could still put it on, and it still gives me all the good feelings. So that being said, let's shit on this thing and go around the room.
I remember the first time I went into Strawberries.
Yeah.
It might not have been the first time, but the one that I remember vividly was my brother and I being very young, and my mom going to buy some CDs, and me walking around the aisles and seeing a CD cover with cartoon boobs on it, and my brother and I just being like fucking Beavis and Butthead in the aisle. Like,
I love this. This sounds about right.
Oh, God.
Oh, the suburbs. So anyway, let's talk about favorite songs, huh?
Favorite songs.
Jim.
My favorite song is And So I Know. This thing's got a lot of good shit going on in there. Some vibraphone. I really liked the vibraphone in there. I really liked the guitar solo. I liked the samba groove that was kind of happening there.
Yeah.
It was very like loungy.
Yeah, very bossa nova.
Bossa nova, yeah. Is that the word I was looking for? Is that the same thing as a samba? No, samba's a little different, right?
It's a little different. Samba's a little peppier. Bossa nova is like that specific kind of halftime thing.
Yeah. And I like the bass part. It had that little slide thing going on. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, nice fretless bass doing
Yeah.
some like counterpoint melody over what the guitar's doing.
Robert DeLeo's bass parts are always just very, very good.
Yeah,
He's
throughout this album, it's
basically like a Motown
pretty
bass
good,
player in
yeah.
a rock band. It's so good.
Yeah, very sophisticated shit. And
Tasteful.
yeah, this
Yes.
song is a great example of them just doing like a really tasty read of a bossa nova track, and not like not in any way where it's obnoxious or cloying. Like it's believable, and it's done very tastefully. Yeah, I agree. I like that track a lot. Christopher.
I'm going to go with Adhesive.
Ooh.
When I was a kid, Adhesive and So I Know and songs like that were definitely not the songs that I was attached to because they weren't heavy, they weren't like as dark or anything like that. But Adhesive is actually super dark, especially when you pay attention to the lyrics, which I normally don't do, but these are some of Weiland's finest moments.
Absolutely.
And it's basically a suicide note. From his own perspective, and the wordplay in it involving things about like Purple selling more copies and things like that if he killed himself are just like spot on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just such a pretty song. It's very, very clever. The arrangement is great. Yeah, fucking 10 out of 10 on that one for me.
Yeah, I liked the in the beginning there. They kind of had the guitar whole note ring outs with the twinkly guitar in between there.
And
The
that
little
soft
sparkle.
snare too during
Yeah.
those bits. Yeah, just
The sense of dynamics in that song is absolutely stellar, and yeah, some like probably one of the best things that band has ever done. Gina.
So for me, it was toss up between And So I Know and Adhesive.
Jesus Christ.
yay,
And,
Arcades.
It's been the case since the first time I heard the album, And So I Know made an impression. I mean, it's just echoing all the things Jim already said, but the bass, when you first hear it, when it first comes in, it just hits you. And then you go in and you get all these unexpected things like the vibes and the claves and the really saturated guitar, and the lyrics are great too. And Scott Weiland he sells it. He really gets into it. And yeah, it's like not a sound that you've heard before on the album, or maybe even from them in general, but it comes up and it's great and it's kind of unexpected and they kill it.
Yeah.
It's a weird song because if you took Scott Weiland off of it and put Beck on top of it, it would make sense.
Yeah,
sure.
And that's not something you hear a lot in the Stone Temple Pilots catalog.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's one of the more sophisticated things that they've done for sure.
It's like a serious version of what's that last track on Purple there?
The second album.
The second album.
Yeah. I've said this before about Stone Temple Pilots, where I think like compared to their other grunge contemporaries, like they weren't afraid to like be nerdy about like what their musical interests were, and they didn't give a shit. Like they would do a bossa nova track, they would do a glam rock sort of thing, and they didn't give a shit. They just loved making music together, and it shows. It's very endearing. So I know I love Adhesive as well, and it was actually going to be my pick until Christopher picked it and
Ruined everyone's night.
No, that
Patrick
is
flips the table. God damn it!
no, that's a song that is like I actually do remember liking it a lot right away, and it being one of those like, oh, this is like a kind of a ballad, but I really like this, and it's intense, and I like what it's making me feel, and yeah, for that it is definitely worth mentioning. But for the sake of being interesting, I'm gonna pick one of the rockers, Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great fucking song, and it's tight. It's like not even 3 minutes. It's in and out, and it just comes in with that like super fucking reiki riff that happens.
It's a song that you speed to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely not trip. You wanna take some speed to this, and
No, I meant speed in a car, Patrick.
no,
While on speed.
Well,
While
all
on
right,
speed.
fine, fair enough.
yeah, there's some great shit happening by all the band members. The bassist is doing this Robert DeLeo's doing this great sort of up the neck bass thing that sort of slowly forms into the root note of the chord, and yeah, that's really great sophisticated shit in a grunge rock song. And yeah, I remember the music video for this song was just like a bunch of home footage spliced together because Scott Weiland was in jail at the time, so they couldn't film anything new. It's a great song, great single. Just super fucking fun, bright choruses, great little chord modulations, just very clever chord riffs, and just sort of speaks to everything that I love about what's going on this album, sonically and musically. Jim, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite song is Art School Girl.
Understandable.
I thought it was a piece of shit.
I told you 5 or 4 times.
I don't know. It was boring. My notes were lame and no.
It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, no, I know. It was stupid.
Yeah, it's a bit
stupid,
fluffy.
like that stupid RV song we had to listen to on the fucking
on the Angel Dust.
Angel Dust.
Yeah, the one that the majority of the room picked as their favorite.
Yeah.
Not us though, not the real musicians, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Art School Girl. It's fine. It's definitely nothing crazy though, and it's kind of bringing back that bossa nova groove that we already got on. And So I Know.
I always had kind of a soft spot for Art School Girl. I think it was kind of a good, especially again for me, like hearing it for the first time when I was younger. I think that was a good kind of bridge for me because it had the heavy part to it that I was able as like a 13-year-old idiot to like latch onto and be like, yeah, this is cool. And then it had the other part that I had to get through to get to the part that I liked. So eventually I started just liking the whole thing. And then I think that kind of helped me like mushroom into really digging the whole album.
Yeah. It's funny when you're younger how you like forgive that shit a lot more. I find myself being less patient with albums nowadays. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But I find like when I do give an album more time, I will eventually grow to like it. I don't know. I should do that more.
Yeah.
Christopher, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite was Pop's Love Suicide. Like there was a sort of a transitional opening track before that with Press Play, but as like an opening statement, I don't think it was very strong, especially when it's followed by Tumble in the Rough, Big Bang Baby, and Lady Picture Show all in a row, and So I Know. Like there was such a good collection of songs all in a row there, and this was just kind of like the odd man out, and I threw it up front.
This was my second least favorite. I wrote it's like a straight kind of rock song.
Yeah, it has some kind of clever things going on. Like it's got kind of an odd meter to it. It does kind of sound like a less accessible Big Bang Baby, or is like something they could have. Like I could picture them like coming up with Big Bang Baby and then like jamming on it and like coming up. That would be like another song that came from that or something that wasn't quite as compelling.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't actually dislike it. I think it's the weakest song on the album by a good measure, but I still think it's decent.
Yeah. I like that little baritone guitar part that happens, the which until I learned what a baritone guitar was, I always thought was just a guitar tuned really low. Gina, what was your least favorite?
So it's funny, we're definitely all on the same page here. Art School Girl is my least favorite, and Love's Pop Suicide is a close second. it wasn't always my least favorite. It just like the way things grow on you, it did the complete opposite to me. It's so obnoxious to me now. By the time you get past the second verse, I need to skip. I need to skip because otherwise the album is like very listenable,
But
start to finish.
Underground parties, Andy Warhol everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the end of the second verse, right? That's it. That's about all I can handle. And then I need to skip. That's really all I have to say. I mean, I think it's meant to be a little annoying.
For sure.
It's working.
Yeah, especially with the chorus. I told you 5 or 4 times.
Yeah, that always...
Not 4 or 5, but 5 or 4.
You know what? I'll tell you. And to be fair, that always got my goat.
It did. It definitely. It got some sort of ungulate. My least favorite was Daisy.
Daisy.
Yeah, and it's just that it's a least favorite. It's just I don't know, not enough going on. It's kind of just it's got some cool kind of modular shit that happens, but it's just like the same thing twice. I guess I don't know. I would say that, and my second least would be Press Play, and I definitely didn't need 4.5 minutes on it on the vinyl version. I think it's cool. I liked it better as a 1.5 minute little segue. I don't know. It doesn't really. I haven't grown to like it anymore over time. It kind of has served a similar purpose for me over time as a filler between 2 like pretty good rock tracks on this record.
Do you all remember the days when they used to debut albums on the radio?
Oh yeah.
Because I heard this on the radio, I think a week before it came out. They had like a special thing like on BCN. It's like, oh yeah, listen at 10 o'clock on Wednesday night, and we're going to play the entire... And like, they would play it out of order and like do like weird talking over stuff to prevent piracy in 1996. Yeah, and it's something that I think the last album I heard that way was Blood Flowers by The Cure. They debuted that way as well. And then I think once MP3s took off, they stopped doing
that was like
I don't think I
2000s
ever-
too.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever have heard that before.
Yeah.
An album debut on the radio.
Yeah, it was cool.
AAF used to, they would play like entire albums that were released that year at like around Christmas. They would do like a marathon of entire albums. Like in 1996, they like, I remember them doing like Down on the Upside in its entirety and shit.
And here's Life of Agony's Weeds.
Yeah.
I would stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning just so I could hear a song that I recorded played on the radio at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Oh man, the good old days. Jim, what was your MVP moment?
Okay, so I already kind of alluded to this earlier. In Trippin' on a Hole, that fucking guitar part in general, but more specifically that ripping guitar solo.
Good shit. Yeah. I forgot to mention that when I was talking about the song. That solo fucking rips. It's a good Dean DeLeo. Good example of him just like doing kind of lyrical / I'm gonna be a wackadoo on guitar.
Yeah.
Which is what he does best. He kind of like toes both those lines really well.
I really enjoyed the end too, where it's doubled up with a synthesizer.
Yeah. Good shit. Good shit.
Yeah.
What was your MVP, Christopher?
So I'm gonna be boring with mine, go for the same song, but it's my favorite part of this album. It's just those fucking bass slides that Robert does going into the pre-choruses of Adhesive.
Oh yeah, those are so good.
It's a little dirty, and they're a little more than he needs to be doing, but yeah, it fits in so well.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I love the sense of like melody that he's employing on top of it, or rather the device that he's using with it is very interesting and adds like this great tension to it.
Yeah,
Something that you don't get with a lot of rock bassists. It's very sort of like pop, jazz, sort of like chamber pop style shit.
It primes you for the choruses.
Yeah, that's
You need
exactly it.
to prime you right into that.
It's this weird thing that kind of like leaves you hanging for half a second until the chorus comes in.
Yeah.
That's great.
Good shit. Yeah, and actually the bass part in the choruses always fucking get to me too. The descending shit that happens is really good, and he kind of like does this counter melody with what Scott's singing, and it's again like something you don't get a lot in this genre. It's really welcome. Gina, what was your MVP moment?
My MVP moment was the muted trumpet solo at Adhesive.
Yeah.
You're like a solid few minutes into that song, and then it just like comes out of nowhere. Just, you haven't heard the sound yet on the album, Forget in the song, and it's just like very effortless, but then kind of piercing at the same time. I don't know. It really hits me right in the feels.
Very well mixed.
It fits very well to it.
And that trumpet player is sick too. That descending run that he does.
Oh my
Is
god!
Halfway through.
Does he have the flu?
Yes.
Sick.
He's dying.
Yeah.
He's
he's dead now.
sick. Oh,
So good.
This was 96.
okay.
Rest in peace, trumpet man.
He did
So,
a good job.
John Trumpetman.
An MVP moment from a session musician. Cool. No, I was kidding. No, that solo is great, and it's definitely. So Brendan O'Brien mixed this record, and he's done like a lot of great shit all over the '90s. And yeah, this is I
This guy's
think
gravy all over the
yeah,
90s.
and this is probably one of my favorite records that he's mixed and produced, and yeah, just the way he put that trumpet in the mix was very nice as well, and he gets a little clap from me, a little tiny one. God, that was creepy.
It's doing it for someone out there.
Yeah, you had that look that was like, do I
don't
do
want
it?
to do this.
Because they're all staring at you.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it. I had trouble picking an MVP moment. I mean, one of my favorite things about this record in general is the array of guitar sounds. Probably one of the things that drew me to the record to begin with was I knew that there was only one guitar player in the band, but I was, this is where I kind of figured out that multi-tracking existed because I was like, there's fucking guitars all over the place, and like, I think something that I heard about the recording of this record was that they only used single coils or something like that, and they're just being put through all these, they're somehow put through all these different textures and layers and. You get everything from kind of grungy fuzz to this like great sort of, hard rock quack.
Yeah, I mean, it's like circling back to what you said before, where they weren't afraid to,
showcase,
try different things.
Yeah, and it really kind of brought out a lot of, just kind of a lot of creativity with the sonic landscape, just being able to take these different guitar sounds and I think a few examples that I can give are or like my favorite examples of that are in Big Bang Baby, the like second half parts of the choruses kind of had like a first half and a second half, and they would just kind of come in like bring, 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 and it just adds so much like brightness to these particular points, and they were just always really well placed and like would. It was a very simple sort of thing that would add a lot, and it's one of those things that just kind of awoke certain things in me from a young age. And what was it, the solo in Lady Picture Show kind of had this the tone of the guitar introduced a different tone than like anything that you heard from the rest of the song, and it's always been really striking. And it kind of sounds like they throw a little bit of rotary on it at some point, and like towards the end of it, and just very great use of all that shit. I love it. All right, comparable record, right?
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh Jesus Christ, Jim. You got one? Or do we need to skip you?
Go around. I gotta think.
All right. Christopher.
All right, I'm gonna go with Porno for Pyro's 1996 album "Good God's Urge,"
Ooh.
which is a very overlooked album, especially given like Perry Farrell is very take 'em or leave 'em. I'm mostly leave 'em. I like some Janes, I like some Porno, but this album by Porno for Pyros is actually great, it's top to bottom, and it's just a weirdo left turn sort of thing, very much like Tiny Music was in comparison to Purple. So yeah, this Good God's Urge was just sort of like a weird, acoustic-y sort of melodic sort of beach record that they made.
Yeah, it was Tahitian Moon was on that
Tahitian
record,
Moon
right?
was the single.
Yeah, it's a great song. That's one of my favorites by him.
Yeah, and just the whole thing is great. And they were kind of disintegrating at the time. Their bass player quit halfway through.
Right.
So it's again one of those troubled productions that I tend to like a lot. Just kind of hearing sonically what's going on during turmoil.
I feel like there were a lot of records that came out like that around 95, 96. That was like
a lot of like, all right, we're different now.
Yeah, like we're in the middle of the decade, like everyone's over grunge, and now we all hate each other.
Yeah, I mean that basically happened like around the board, like 'cause that happened with Britpop too. That's when the bubble burst there, because when Boyer put out Self-Titled, which is basically like a Pavement album with Damon Albarn singing on it.
Yeah, Soundgarden, they split up like a year later too in '97.
Yeah,
it was definitely like a death knell for all that shit. Gina, what do you think?
So I kind of had two, because one I felt like maybe didn't count, but
none of them count.
The one that counts,
none of this matters.
The one that I felt counted, I was gonna say was Morning View, Incubus.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah, well, they also rented a mansion in Malibu,
right,
and lived together and wrote and recorded the album there.
Yeah.
And then it's also just got kind of a very similar mix between like heavy rock songs and like more kind of delicate and vulnerable, softer, slower songs. And it kind of goes through some of the same motions. And then the one that I was going to say...
Brendan O'Brien produced as well.
I don't think he did Morning View, actually, but he did other...
He did the one after,
he did a Crow
right?
Left. Yeah, he did a Crow Left to the Mirror, which is the next one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so, and then the one that I was going to say that maybe didn't count was Viva Lasagna.
No.
You got the intro, and you got, like, again, the same similar sort of eclectic mix of styles and songs. And anyway, you get what
That's
I'm
really
saying.
sweet. Thanks, Hunter.
Oh, you're welcome.
My pick for comparable record is going to be kind of A-B. Down on the Upside by Soundgarden. Only because it came out the same year, and it's definitely a record that the singles were out at around the same time, and were just very present. Oh, yep, there's my cat. Hobbs just kind of letting it all hang out,
dealing with the heat.
Yeah, she was flat as a pancake outside earlier. It was great. I was like, "You sure
good.
you don't want to come inside?" She's like, "No, I'm good, bro." Anyway, so yeah, Soundgarden's Down on the Upside, and yeah, it's kind of a similar feel with the mix of acoustic and electric, more upbeat numbers, and it definitely was a bit of a change from their like more previous and more successful predecessor in that way. I think Tiny Music is definitely a tighter record, and I think we've explored that already on our previous episode. But yeah, that would be my pick for that. Jim.
All right, I got one now.
Yay.
I'm going to go with Alice in Chains, Self-Titled.
Ooh, yeah, that would be my other one.
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Yeah, shit.
Same kind of deal, Alice in Chains kind of not being afraid to do the thing.
Yeah, hard left turn for them to get it into like weirder and like buzzier production too.
Especially like Again.
Yeah, actually, that's a good the drums are very similar on both records too.
Yeah.
They're kind of like shifted from like the bigger arena rock to something that was like a little more grungy and buzzy and idiosyncratic. That's a good one too. Shit. And I was definitely fucking listening to both those records back to back as a young scrapper. A young pissant. Pissant?
Pissante.
Pissant.
Pissant. Yeah, you would know. That sounds like something your old Southern grandma
That
would
is
say.
exactly. That was one of her. That was one
Of
of
her
her
Kentuckyisms.
things. Pissant. Yeah.
That Mark Zuckerberg's a pissant.
So she was from Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay, so my sister lived in Kentucky for a while. Her husband used to be in the military and was stationed at Fort Knox. And a phrase that she heard a lot, and I'm curious to see if you've heard this before, and could hopefully shed some light on to what it means. Hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit.
But that makes so much sense to me. Like, I understand exactly what it means.
Like, I haven't heard my grandmother say that, but
I've
it
had
definitely
hair in
makes
my
sense in
biscuit
my...
before, though. Like, do you guys know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
No?
No, we have normal breads up here.
Well,
When you get a hair baked into your biscuits, you can, like, pick the whole thing up
Oh
by
yeah.
the hair.
No, I know. I
Oh, because it clumps.
It really gets in there.
I remember the first time I went
got it.
south to the Mason-Dixon and had biscuits and gravy, and I was like, this is fucking fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
very good.
So good.
Oh, yeah. The food in, like, the South and the Midwest, it's just too fucking much. It's too good. Ever had Steak and Shake?
Yeah, there was one right down the street from my apartment. when I
Oh,
lived in
right. You used to
Florida.
live in Florida, yeah.
But I remember when Nick and I went on tour with Adapter and Dapter, he had never been like south. And we were just stopping and eating food, and at some points we'd stop and eat like fast food. He's like, Jesus Christ! Like even the fast food is better down here. This is fucking insane.
It's nuts, yeah.
Waffle House.
Oh, Waffle House is so good.
So good, so bad.
So
At the
bad.
same time.
So good.
I was eating there with my family, and I must have told this story on this podcast at one point.
Oh, now
I was
we know
there-
how Christopher feels about this podcast.
No, it was just Freudian slip with my family. And my family's gathered around the table, supping on our Waffle
Supping
House
at the
breakfast.
Devil's Table.
Yeah, supping at the Devil's Table. And we finish, and the waitress clears away our dishes, and no sooner does she do that and turn her back, but the largest moth I've ever seen in my life just dropped dead on the table. And it's like, I just had a great breakfast, and I saw the largest dead moth I've ever seen fall on my table. Like, this is the perfect Waffle House experience.
Yeah, at least it waited till the end.
Yeah,
to
no,
die.
it was good.
I remember I
It
stopped.
held out for you.
I was driving home from Florida, I think, and I stopped at a Waffle House. Like I crashed at a motel or whatever. And then I woke up, and wherever there's a motel, there's a Waffle House across the street.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to the Waffle House, and then I'm driving up 95 North to get home, and I was just like, I'm gonna shit my pants.
Jesus Christ.
It always comes up. Always
always
comes back
does.
to the poop.
I mean, finish your story. You started.
That's it.
You
That's
just
the
had
story.
to go. So you,
I'm guessing you went?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
in the
you go
car?
to
I tried to play a game though. I tried to play how long can I go before I actually have to like.
That's not a good game.
You
Sometimes
lose
when I
you
hold-
play that game.
Sometimes when I hold it for a long time, it gives me a funny tickle in my tummy.
God.
Did you go to a Sheets?
Started coming out of my nose.
Ooh, come on. This is a family show.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Jesus
Emily's
Christ.
gonna be mad at me.
Yeah, we brought the poop in. Sorry. All right. Well, let's elevate a bit and and rate this album that we listened to. Jim, what would you rate this?
It's gonna get a solid 7. Not my favorite STP album, but I do enjoy pretty much all of STP albums, so I don't feel comfortable giving it anything lower than a 7.
All right. Cool.
I am going to give it a 9.
Yeah.
It is my favorite Stone Temple Pilots album. Wasn't my favorite when I was younger, but it is now for sure. And definitely has to get bonus points because, as I mentioned before, Stone Temple Pilots and Nine Inch Nails were really the reason I started getting into and making music. So Stone Temple Pilots always get an extra little gold star on their report card for me, even if they did phone in that oral exam. So
It's true.
yeah, 9 on this. It's a great fucking album.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8.6.
No, you can't.
Okay, so I
You have to round
specifically
up.
picked a number where I could round it if I needed to. So
All right,
it's gonna
fair.
get the 9.
All right.
The only reason it wouldn't get the 9 is Art School Girl ruins it a little bit for me. But pretty much everything else is delightful. I love Daisy. I'm really mad at you that you said it was your least favorite song.
I know you do, and I know you like that song a lot.
We'll get out of here quick so you guys can argue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is gonna be.
It's bound to happen.
There's
We're
gonna-
having such a good day too.
It's gonna be a long evening.
No, you will listen to Daisy on repeat until you can admit that you like it.
Oh goodness. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Whoa.
Fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. This is one of my favorite
Oh,
albums.
I feel like a piece of shit now.
No, it happens. This is one of my favorite
go with your heart.
records, and
Gotta go with your heart.
I think it's one of the best records of the '90s, bar none. I will say that without question. Whether anyone agrees with me or not doesn't really matter. I think it's their best record. I think it's them at their most interesting and compelling and inspirational, I guess. This is a record that I got into before I got Purple, before I got Core, before I got any of their other records. I got this when it was fairly new, kind of like you, Christopher. And yeah, it holds a very special place. And yeah, it's one of those records that made me want to play music that was maybe a little more, maybe a little more emotional and more. Yeah, one of those records that just sort of pulled me out of like being a total metalhead, I guess, and brought me into a more tuneful poppy direction. And yeah,
Took you out of that Dream Theater vortex.
I got into this years before Dream Theater. I had a very strange
Vortex.
trajectory with my musical interests.
No,
So
I think you and I had a similar trajectory.
yeah, just
Because
kind
I
of
grew
like,
up on like Tool and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and,
Weird Al's Greatest Hits
and
Volume
Weird
2.
Al's Greatest Hits Volume 2
I
and
had
Metallica.
I had Bad Hair Day
and
personally.
Offspring.
Yeah, me
I had Bad Hair Day, Offspring and Nirvana, and then my dad. I'll never forget this because I was playing Blink-182 songs.
Yeah.
And my dad was getting pissed off, and he came down and he was like, "Stop playing that crap and play this." And he gave me a Rush album, and he was like, so I learned how to play that, and then I bought Mike Portnoy's like Liquid Drum Theater DVD.
Good shit.
And that's how I got into all that shit.
You guys are old.
Yeah, we sure are. I feel like I'm a little too old for Blink-182, even though like a lot of my classmates were into them. I don't know. I remember them coming out and being like, I miss the grunge days.
Yeah.
I was into them when they were kind of first in the public consciousness when like Damn It came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was giving them the benefit of the doubt when was it Enema of the State? Was that the
Yeah.
one after? When that came out, I gave them the benefit of the doubt because I was like, oh, Damn It was really good. And this new song, What's My Age Again, has the same exact chord progression, but this seems all right.
What year was that?
That came out in 99.
Yeah, Enema of the
Yeah.
State was 99. Damn It was 97.
See, I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to read a
Cool,
bit
cool.
here
It was,
from...
it was just before my.
I'm going to read a little retrospective reception from our good pal Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins.
What?
So he had this to say about Tiny Music. Following Weiland's death, Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins posited, "It was STP's third album that got me hooked. A wizardly mix of glam and post-punk, and I confessed to Scott, as well as the band many times, how wrong I'd been in assessing their native brilliance. And like Bowie can and does, it was Scott's phrasing that pushed his music into unique and hard-to-pin-down aesthetic sonic sphere. Lastly, I'd like to share a thought which, though clumsy, I hope would please Scott and homonym. And that is, if you asked me who I truly believed were the great voices of our generation, I'd say were he, Lane, Kurt, and Steve Harwell. No, he didn't say Steve Harwell. No, that was a nice little blurb from our good pal Billy Corgan.
Now, to tie that in together, have you ever heard the song Range Life by Pavement?
No, I don't know a lot of Pavement.
Me neither, but this is the one song that I just do know because it makes me giggle inside every time. I will read the last verse for you. Out on tour with the Smashing Pumpkins, Nature Kids. They don't have no function, and I don't understand what they mean, and I could really give a fuck. The Stone Temple Pilots, they're elegant bachelors. They're foxy to me. Are they foxy to you?
Yes.
Oh, Pavement. They're always great with that type of shit.
And it was 8.75 was the average.
Oh, not bad. Not too
yeah.
bad. I seem to remember a Pavement song where you're singing about like Geddy Lee or something, and wondering if he sang like a regular guy. It was like, how does his voice get so high? I wonder if he talks like a regular guy. And then like, the band stops, and they're like, oh yeah, I've heard him. He does. Then like the band starts again or something.
Actually, I think it's the day of we're recording this. It's Geddy Lee's birthday.
Is it really?
I believe it is.
How old? He's got to be 60 something by now.
Price is Right rules.
I'm gonna guess that he was born in 1950 and that he is 69.
69.
I'm gonna say he's 67.
Do you have a guess?
I'm going to say 68.
I'm going to go 1. Price is Right rules.
Let's see. He is 66 years old.
Oh.
Do I win? I said 67.
No, I
No.
win. Price is Right rules.
Closest without going over.
Wait, when was
Oh.
Yeah, Drew Carey just called me. I am on my way up there because I won some jewelry.
he? When was he born? 1953.
Yeah.
So he's the same age as Hulk Hogan.
Yep. Today's his birthday.
And Hulk Hogan and Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth.
Today is his 66th birthday. Happy birthday, Geddy
all
Lee.
that.
Because I'm a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, I bet Dominic would be pumped to know he has the same birthday as Geddy Lee.
Oh, he would.
Today is Dominic's birthday, too.
Happy birthday, Dominic.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the time I convinced you to eat head cheese.
Oh, right. Yeah, at my bachelor party, where we got really good food instead of going to Las Vegas.
My brother is ridiculous.
I'm sad I missed that. I forget where I
Yeah.
was.
You were.
I think
you
I
were
was
out of
traveling
town.
for
You
yeah.
said you had better things to do.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, you missed Prix Fix down at wherever that restaurant was that my brother took us to.
It was in Central. That's all
Head
I
cheese
remember.
is like literally like they grow the cheese in a skull, right?
No, it's a combination of like boiled stuff in the skull, and then
Yeah.
they like kind of put it together with gelatin and make like a loaf out of it.
Gross.
I've never had it, so I want to try it. And honestly, like the
Is it a
the
textural
bits,
thing?
The bits weren't the problem for me. The gelatin. So it was just this plain, clear gelatin that had no taste to it whatsoever.
Yeah. They did that in China. They would jelly, like, chicken and, like, fish. And,
Yeah.
like, put these cubes of
Isn't that called aspic?
jellied meats. Ew, it was awful.
Is that where the wark's tongues are?
Lark's tongue and aspic, yeah.
I don't know, but I couldn't.
Are you gonna have any shark
In Iceland?
Yeah, yeah.
Shark's tongue and aspic?
The cured shark
Yeah,
or
yeah.
regular shark?
No, cured. Greenland shark. You
that good
shit.
Is that the shit that smells like an ammonia?
Yeah, the kind that's poisonous until they let it rot.
I think I'm gonna pass.
Ah,
Have you had it?
yeah.
How is it?
It's horrible.
Then why am I gonna eat it?
just to do. No, it's great because you open up the pack. You can get it from the supermarket.
Oh, it's like a pickle in a bag kind of thing, but it's fermented
in like,
shark.
It's like sealed, vacuum sealed, and like
Yeah.
you peel it open, and as soon as you do, it just reeks of ammonia.
Oh God, I'm gonna throw up.
It was so good because we did it one time when we were renting an apartment at an Airbnb.
I'm smelling the Jackalope bathroom in Austin, Texas right now.
And we threw out the rest of it in a trash barrel outside, and for the rest of our trips, there were cats hanging out outside of our apartment.
That's a good trick.
Yeah, no, it was great. And they were
Yeah,
all super friendly.
I'm really looking forward to going to Iceland with Christopher so he can trick me eating into weird things.
Like, does anyone actually enjoy the taste of it, or is it just like, hey, look at this cool shit that I made because we're bored in
Eric Marks will
Iceland?
eat it.
No,
Eric
it's-
Marks will
it's-
eat disgusting
it's traditional.
things.
That sounds
Yeah.
great.
It's
Well,
not something that they eat now. It's like there's like a day a year when they have this festival of like traditional foods that they eat that some people do, and then otherwise it's strictly for tourists.
Right. To get the...
They tried to
People
trick
from
me.
out of
They tried to
towners.
trick me in Japan when I was there. I was at a work dinner, and they were just putting stuff in front of me, and I was like, "What is it?" And they're like, "Just try it." I was like, "All right." What's it called? Takoyaki. I'm like, okay. And I ate it. I was like, "It's pretty good." What is it? And it's octopus balls, but not like Not octopus testicles, just like balls of dough with pieces of octopus.
Yeah,
in
I
it.
was gonna say they don't have balls. That's not how that works, is
I was
it?
like, this is pretty good.
Actually, I think one of an octopus's tentacles is its penis.
Really?
Yes, and it
That's like taking your
takes it-
arm and just being like,
yeah, and it forces it in,
Yeah.
and then the lady octopus usually tries to kill the guy.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes in the fish world.
the fish world.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
all sorts of crazy.
yeah. How about anglerfish? The female like absorbs the male one and like the gonads.
They become the same
yeah.
fish for the rest of.
Yeah,
That's fucking terrifying.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's like the end of the Schism video.
Yeah, basically, exactly.
Yeah, the animal kingdom is often not pretty.
No.
No, things happen out there that just aren't good.
What were we just talking about before fish?
Octopus?
Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Shark, Iceland.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I had a joke, but now it doesn't matter.
Todd ate the shark at one point. He's like, yeah, that's the second worst thing I've ever eaten.
What was the first?
Fermented moth eggs, I believe.
Moth eggs?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what
Yeah.
fucking country has moth eggs?
That sounds like something my
Korea.
dad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like you just found him in his closet and
I'm
put
just
him in a
like,
cup.
Oh, I'm gonna ferment these. My dad has this thing about fermenting everything, so he'll just like leave stuff out on the counter, and I'll be like, "Hey, can I throw this out?" No, don't throw that out.
So Danielle's starting to get into fermenting right now. She
Yeah.
has a
I
couple
think-
things on the counter as we speak.
I think you get to a certain age and you just want to start fermenting things. I mean, that's how beer was probably discovered.
Well, I mean, I
Or
think
wine.
it's just easier to leave shit out on the counter and then
Yeah.
like say, "Oh yeah, that's healthier for me." Sure, that's why I'm doing it. Not because I don't feel.
Actually,
like
I'm
putting it in
pretty
the
sure
fridge.
my mom is fermenting her own pickles in the fridge right now. And I was like, those don't look like Vlasic to me.
No. God damn.
Pickles aren't even like straight up fermentation though. They're just like
They're
you
pickled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you weave them
Yeah.
in a liquid.
Salty liquid.
Right.
And a
Yeah,
brine.
I got them confused. Carry on.
No, it's okay. What's
I
wrong with-
fermented
what's-
beer one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like beer that was already made.
No,
you just
I'm-
fermented it further.
See, I thought I was going to get into brewing, but then I realized it's extremely frustrating when you spend $60 on 5 gallons of shit and then it comes out like shit,
yeah.
and then you had to
Sounds
pour it down the
terrible.
drain. Yeah, so I stopped doing that real quick.
It's too bad. It always sucks when you have to give up on a dream. All right, well, let's. Gina, thanks for coming on again. And
Yay,
And thanks for coming downstairs. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I
coming
really.
downstairs
It
to
was.
the old
It
cave.
was tough to get here today, but made the
Me
effort.
too. Me too. Me too. All right. Well, shit. Well, that was certainly an episode. Anything we want to? What do we got going on for Bears for Years? We're writing some new stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Write and record.
We're gonna break in the new studio with some
Some new tunes.
Yeah,
BFY?
Yeah, your first customers. We're ready. Well, we're not ready, but
We're working on new stuff now, though. It's pretty exciting because we haven't really. For the last record, we wrote most of that stuff back in like 2014, 2015. So it's been a while, other than like a kind of few like things here and there, and you like doing some smell vocals. Like we haven't really written any songs together in a while.
I told you guys how Emily's brother Owen coined the genre that Bears for Years is, right?
What's that?
Lounge prog.
Oh yeah,
Lounge prog.
that's pretty good. I think I've heard that, but
Joel
that's pretty good.
Simkes said that too.
I think he said something
Said
similar.
something
Yeah,
similar to lounge prog.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty apt, I would say.
That's just literally a marriage of our styles.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gina's a big prog head, and
Patrick's always putting on his smoking jacket and
yeah, exactly.
sipping some fine whiskey.
I got her really into Robert Goulet, and Gina got me into Camel and Van der Graaf Generator. It's great.
What was that composer that did like all the sort of retro future type music? He did like basically like the Quagmire party style music. Was it Esquivel? Is that the guy's name?
Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machine?
No, it's a real person.
No, now I don't know.
You've never heard of Lounge Against the Machine?
I think it was
so
Esquivel,
good.
but yeah, offline. I'll have to show you.
Don't remind me about Richard Cheese, because that just reminded me of Pat Boone and that fucking album that we had to do for Jukebox Zeros, the In a Metal Mood. Jesus Christ, we've had to do some real shit for that show.
No, you definitely got to check out Lounge Against the Machine.
I think what they do is actually better, but no, I couldn't help but be reminded of that. All right, well, yeah, cool.
I'm gonna go wrangle some cats.
Yeah, we gotta get the cats inside.
I want to plug something.
Yeah, Jim, what do you got?
I got two things. So I finally finished recording and editing the drums for the new Down City Armory album. So
Yeah.
by the time this airs, Christopher should have those tracks in his hand. I just got a couple things I got to tweak. Also, I've been working, filling in on sound on a couple shoots for friends of mine from Fatfoot Films are working on a short horror film called Strays that premieres at the Elm Draft House in Millbury on October 19th. So if you'd like to come check that out, buy your tickets online.
Woo! Sounds good.
Nice.
Christopher.
Nothing for Chaboy right now. Just check out the other shows on Zero Science, Clamshell Case Files, Jukebox Zeros. All those hits,
All the classics.
all the classics.
All right, cool. And I don't know, might be some new stuff coming from Smell soon. I don't know. I'm kind of working on some stuff, kind of weird. Kind of want to just like get them out and see what
You
happens.
making something weird? That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, gotta stretch my wings someday. Stretch my wings. That's the album title. All right. Well, this has been another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. Thanks for joining us again tonight, and we'll see you next time. This is Patrick.
I'm Christopher.
I'm Jim, and we'll see you in hell.
Zero Science.
Lils and Patrick are two local musicians from the New England area whose minimal accomplishments have left them thoroughly unqualified to judge bands and artists who have been more successful than they ever could be. And yet, their passion for bad music persists on Jukebox Zeros, the podcast that takes a retrospective look at the worst albums of all time. From The Shags to Attila, from Cyberpunk to Scream. If there's a band that has an album they're ashamed of, Lils and Patrick will be there. Share their love on Jukebox Zeros, now on the Zero Science Network, and wherever podcasts